All righty. We are live with CAVHQ and your host, CAVBoss. So we'll give everybody a couple of minutes to show up. Hope everybody is doing well tonight. As you can see, I am running solo. We'll kind of talk about that here in a little bit. But bring everybody up to speed. Talk a couple of rules things. And hi, Elmer, and how you doing? I just how easy camo is. Being frustrated with how easy camo is. Yeah. Well, I've been working out in the lot all day, so I was like, oh, time for a show. Let me run up here and knock the grass off of me. Being frustrated with how easy camo is. It seems like a double whammy there. Uh, well, I don't know what to tell you. At least it makes you able to enjoy it a little longer. It's just not a wham bam, thank you, ma'am. Yeah, well, there's not a lot to the concussion. Oh, no, I'm sorry, not. I was thinking the time. Yeah. Oh. Oh. First time I've sat down in quite a while today. It's been already a busy, busy week. Might end up being a quiet night tonight. Everybody may be busy. I played CAV for the first time, and I'm going back next week to try the actual game rules instead of the quick start. Well, congratulations. Glad you got in the game. Would you happen to be with the Ohio game that I saw put up earlier today? Hello, Ishin Loki? Is Hen Loki? Hopefully I'm saying that right. Yes, that was us. Well, cool. Good looking board. So everything go okay? Pretty smooth? Did it all make sense? I hope. The main trick just is to get into the flow of it is just remember what essays that you have to choose from and get into a habit of how you roll your dice, how you add and subtract your modifiers. Um, we're kind of tweaking that a little bit. So hopefully when we release the updated rules and the rules of engagement book that'll be a little smoother. So, has anybody else got a game in lately? I know that they've been getting some down in Tulsa, and where did I see somebody else put a game up the other day? Yeah, we're gonna the store that Kruger played in is one of our newer retailers, and we're expecting a first order from them. And once we do, we'll be putting the information up on the front page of the website or to the on Facebook to welcome them. So. Yes, that's right. That's right. I did see yours. I knew that I had just seen one that had got put up. So. All right, so let's go ahead, and I'm going to kind of, first thing I want to talk about, if, of course, I know not everybody's on Facebook or whatever, we are kind of restructuring the way that we do shows during the week a little bit. James' schedule has become a lot tighter. He's got some things at home he's got to take care of. And so to help him out, because he's decided that he's not going to do the Big Stompy podcast anymore. I don't know if it'll come back at a later time or if this is the final nail in it or not. So to help him out, I think he enjoyed to do the Monday show. So he's going to continue to do his Monday show. I am going to, for now, not do the Tuesday night show. I just don't have time to get things ready and for it to be in the format that I want it to be. And so it ends up kind of being just another night like this where we're talking about and stuff. So, anyway, so that's what's happening. I still plan on coming up with something for that show. But I just don't have time with everything that's going on right now. So, and then Wednesday nights, you're just going to get me by myself. So that way James just has one night, I have one night. Chris will do his show on Saturday as he's been doing. So that's kind of the new schedule. So I've got to update the Twitch page and everything to show all that. But that's going to be the new schedule going forward, probably through the summer. So my hope is after I get over a couple of humps here that as we go into the fall, I'll kind of be able to put my Tuesday show or whenever I end up deciding to do it again, kind of together the way I want to. So I'm running around right now with a chicken with his head cut off, and I just don't have time to do it the way I want to do it. So, but that way I can kind of take everything and squeeze it into just a night and maybe not have so much empty space or something until we can get some things going. So that is the current schedule. Hopefully, if you saw Chris on Saturday, or if you watched the rebroadcast of that, I'm going to get it all up on YouTube tomorrow. I hope you saw Chris has been working on the Adenese Eagle. That's a strike fighter that the Adenese have, and he is making some changes to it to tweak it up a little bit. It's kind of a F-22 rip with sci-fi elements and stuff changed on it and everything like that. So I think that's the F-22 is a really cool deal. So one of our players here did his college orientation today. We got sorry. Well, cool. It's funny. My youngest son Nate he goes to school over at Wichita State University, and he is studying game design and computer programming. So his instructor in one of his game design classes has worked for Blizzard, and I don't know. There's a whole list of companies that he's worked for and everything like that. Somehow or another, him and Nate got to talking, and Nate started talking to him about CAV, and I think they're talking about what got him into gaming and everything. And so the next week at class, he took the teacher a book and some minis, and so the teacher has really, really fallen into it. Yeah, no, the Eagle's going to be a sharp fighter. So I think we figured out it's going to be right about 80 millimeters long, so just a little over 3 inches long. So it's going to be a good sized plane. The planes always end up being so much bigger lengthwise because of the way that they sit and everything. So. All right. Question on it. Yay, I like questions. Okay, I knew that was what you were getting ready to ask. All right, so this is kind of going into, I haven't made the changes to the card yet, but I will. This is another one that we can't put in the program right yet, so we're trying to figure it out. Yes, it's going to be like the Warden. So right now, tentatively, it's going to be a new essay. I don't know if we're going to call it linked or amped or what it's going to be. But basically what you're going to be able to do going forward, this is part of the update in the Journal of Recognition when we update the construction system. In order to add some more variety to the weapons without adding a bunch of new weapons, what you will be able to do is, so let's say if you match a weapon, or let's say you put 2 matched weapons in each arm, all right? So in the case of the Eagle with the racks, so what you'll end up doing is, and I don't have the book here in front of me, so I don't have the number, but let's say the rack is I don't know, let's just say it's 3-3, okay? Just for the sake of on the deal. So if you buy this as a linked weapon, or whatever the essay ends up being, instead of having 2 of the guns, you will only have 1 gun, but you will add 1 to both RAVs. So if the normal RAV on that particular weapon for the Eagle is a 3-3, with them having them linked, it will actually end up being a 4-4. And instead of paying the threat value for 2 of them, the one will just have the extra damage point figured into its new threat value. So that way you can get a little more power of a weapon without paying for doubles and stuff like that. So that will help with a lot of with tanks and stuff like this that are just single weapons with the way that they look. Yes, it is. The cost will be coming down on the number of points on that. So, because basically, let's say if you've got 2 of them and they're each 100 threat value apiece, you would pay 200 threat value against whatever the final of that price ended up being. But with them being linked, the linked weapon will end up being like 125 threat value. So you'll see a pretty significant down deal. Basically, what you're doing with this is you're losing the ability to salvo, but you're getting that number back into the damage. So whereas salvo is you're improving your chance to hit, so you would add that plus to your hit roll. In this case, you are adding it to the damage of the weapon. So you still have to hit with a normal roll, but if you hit, you will hit harder, if that makes sense. And it will be cumulative. So let's say you were making, if you wanted to take a duelist, all right, and the duelist has, times 6 MRAX or light max or whatever I think it's got light max. Okay. You will, in that instance, you could actually come back and build, however that ended up being hard point wise. But let's take the Dervish for an example. The Dervish has got that great big gun on the top and everything like that. But what if you wanted to take a duelist size model and put a really, really big gun on it instead of the 6? So let's say your light Mac is normally a 4, just say 4.1. If you want to, you could actually take all 6 of those weapons, which will use up 6 hard points, well, or however many it ends up being, because 2 of them are matched. So you'll still use up all those hard points, but you will take that +5 and add to the damage of the weapon. So instead of it being a 4.1, it would be a 9.6. You'll definitely see it with some of the bigger rocket guys, some of the bigger missile guys. You're basically taking a larger, more damaging weapon, and you're not paying as much threat value, but if you do hit, you're going to hit a lot harder. So this will add a huge amount of variety to the. Yes. Yeah, because it's only going to be one weapon. So when we build the model, even though you paid for 6 light max, you are just going to have one weapon on there. Yes. But, there's pluses and minuses to it, because you're losing, if you had those 6 weapons and you salvoed them, you would get that +5 into your roll. So your chances to hit and get a higher number are more improved. But by doing it this way, you will be able to, you won't be able to hit as easy, but if you do hit, you'll do a lot more damage. So it's kind of a wash to a degree. It's just a matter of how you put it on. But you could also do the same thing as, let's say if you wanted to take that same model and take the 6 light max, you could put 2 of the max, 1 on each arm, and to both of those you would add a +2. So all of a sudden, instead of a 4.1, you would have 2 weapons that are 6.3s. Right. So, and that's where it's going to be a trade-off. I really, and that's what I was going to say, I really don't see that as being a, we might do one, just say that there's a big gun or something like that. But where I do see it being used is either, like I said, you could take that duelist, that particular type of model, take the 2 light max, 1 on each arm, and then add a +2 to the damage. So now instead of it being a 4.1, you would have 2 6.3s. So the cool thing about that is, with all those different numbers that you can put in there, the variety, you're just not going to have the 3 run-of-the-mill, light, medium, and heavy weapons. There'll still be those, but, and in lore-wise, they'll be considered different calibers, different ammo, however we want to do it. But now, you know, somebody's not going to be able to always just look at a guy and go, oh, he's just got a medium Mac. Well, he's got two medium Macs that are both been linked, and so it's going to change the numbers up a bit on some numbers, and I think going to add a lot of variety. I think it'll work out pretty good. But it definitely will give, especially some of the littler guys, a much, much stronger shot in order to crack some armor on some bigger guys. I mean, I could see, something like a silverback or something like that, where you built that sort of model with 4 guided missiles and just put 1 guided missile at +3. And we're not going to do it a whole lot. I mean, it's just another option to allow us to add some variety. And it'll make some weapons a little more deadly than they were. But I mean, you could have, like a silverback guided, one with a great big guided missile with +3 or whatever, and all of a sudden you've got an 11 or a 12 RAV. So major hit. Definitely more criticals. And the good thing about it is, for the most part of it, it falls within the rules that we already have. We're not making new rules. We're not changing rules necessarily. We're taking what we've already got and applying it a little different to add some variety. An ICBM with legs. Yeah, I think probably having 1 big guided missile launcher would look kind of funny, but, well, not necessarily, because most of the time they have multiple tubes that we show for each missile, but could be pretty cool. It might be a way, too, you could always, maybe we could stat out a guided missile version of the cruise missile launchers. That way you could actually start using those, and basically they're just great big guided missile launchers. So a lot of new things that we can do with it. All right, so that's the main things that I wanted to talk about. Well, I said the designs will be endless that you'll be able to do with them. It's like I said, we're breaking the construction program, so I don't know if it's going to be able to catch up with some of the changes that we're making. But anything that we make as an official model, there'll be a color card for it. That's on my list here, is to get the cards all caught up and updated. So. All right, so I think that's the main topics I meant to cover tonight. What is some other questions that you might like me to answer tonight? Oh, I think summer is here. Hot and humid today. It's funny because I had to go in this afternoon and I had an eye exam, and I had been in the shop. I'd been working in the office, So I got in the car. Of course, as soon as I walked outside, the humidity was just like walking through a wave of water. And so I get there, and of course they've still got COVID restrictions up. So I had to park in front of their front door and call them and tell them I was there. And then they met me at the door and made sure I was wearing my mask. And first thing they do, you go inside and you have to go to the bathroom and wash your hands and all that. So anyway, so we go through all that. I sit down in the chair. I'm there for a couple of minutes. The eye doctor comes in, and she's, first thing she wants to, check him with the glasses on, covering one side and not. Well, of course, with the mask on and then even I had it pulled down some, and then when she put the thing in front of my eye, well, immediately my glasses just fogged up. So she's like, well, okay, can you read the line number 4? And I'm like, hell no. I said, all I see is a big cloud of white. Oh, I'm so sorry, your glasses are fogged up. I'm like, yeah. So I pull the mask down a little further, and I take my glasses off, and I wipe them off right quick with my shirt. So I put them back on and start again. First thing they do, they start fogging up again. So we fight through that. And then, of course, I take the glasses off, and they put the thing up in front of you and start doing the deal. Well, that was 10 times worse. Now this is right up against your face, and your nose is sticking through, and so they were fogging up. So it made for a rather rough eye appointment, but I think we managed to get through it. So hopefully I will have new glasses next week. These that I've got were pretty much on the downhill slide for some time. I'm horrible about waiting to go. I think the last time I went and got my eyes checked was like 2016. I'm just not big about going to the eye doctor, and especially if I don't notice anything or whatever. Well, of course, in 2016, the glasses that I had then are the same glasses I had now, and I just had them put new lenses in them because I really like the frames. And now, so that had probably been 3 or 4 years that I'd got the frames before that. So, these things are running on 9 or 10 years. So, the coating that they put on them is chipped off in places. So I get little specks of rust, and yeah, it was a mess. So, but I'm ready for some new ones. Selling point for the game, build your own stuff. Yes, you can. You can build whatever you want. You can change out whatever you want. It's a pretty simple system with hard points and the way it works. So it's just there if you want it, if you need it for whatever. So. And you might let the store owner know, Kruger, because my wife said that she'd got an email from him about ordering the rule books and that the discount didn't look right on them or whatever. The way that works is because we sell, of course, the core rule book is $39.99. That's the suggested retail price on it. Because we do, on our website, we do the free 4 minis with the book. Easy for us to do because we've got boxes of minis that we can pick what we need to put in there. Well, we had some stores that were not overly impressed by the fact that we were offering a book with 4 free minis, and they were not. So the rule books, if you are a retailer and you're buying those books, they are net priced, so that the price works out. If the retailer chooses to, they can also give 4 free minis with the book, and price-wise, it comes out the same. So you might let him know that's. I think she did an explanation of it, but she was supposed to get some stuff out to him today, and she didn't do it because I was out of the office a bunch, and she had a couple of errands, and my older daughter and grandson is coming in tonight, so she was trying to get ready for that. So, but if he has any questions, just have him call, and I'll explain it. But it all works out. It's all good at the end. Because it's really, I mean, it's just a great deal. I mean, and especially if you're a store, because we do that at the shows. By the same token, is usually everybody just takes the starter squad because they really don't know what to play or whatever. But we do the same thing at the shows. If you want to buy the book and pick out 4 free minis, then go over there and pick them out, and it's just a good selling point to get players into the game that you give them their first squad for free. Also, I noticed one player today was saying something about the points and changing things for the book and everything like that. The suggested points that we put in there to start with in the rule book are strictly, that's not a hard limit, a soft, it's just whatever you want to play, you can play. We just kind of give you an idea of points where you should start with a squad. When we originally wrote the book, we did 3,000 points. Afterwards, I felt that was probably a little high points for a new player to start out with. So we dropped down to the 2,500 points to do and fit the starter squads into that value. So, but don't think that you're limited, that you have to have a hard value. You'll find that yeah, no, I believe that's, I think we're talking all about the same person. So yes, I'm pretty sure that he has an account now. But, anytime you're putting games together, I mean, really change those points around. It's a lot of fun, especially you'd be amazed. I mean, you can do 400 and 500 and 600 point squads if you want to. And you don't necessarily have to make them an average out. I mean, we've done, you get one squad at 700 points and then one squad at 1,200 points, one squad at 1,800 points, or and go back and do another squad at, 750. That trying to find, good point values that fit into there, it just makes for a funner game. Or you can figure it up kind of like that we do the tournament. You just give you a core amount of points, but you have to have a minimum of X number of calves and vehicles or X number of squads or whatever. So that works in pretty cool. And that's where a special squad really works into, especially when you're building a larger force group, is because that special squad can have one model in it and still count as a squad. So it's kind of a catch-all if you're trying to build something special, or you got, some points left over and you want to get one more guy on the board and you haven't used your special squad yet, then lo and behold, that's what that's for. And those 4 models can be anything in it. So you can literally build a 6 model right off the bat of airplanes if you want to. You can do a special squad, which is a primary squad, put 4 airplanes in it. That allows you to buy your flight squad, bam, put 2 more aircraft in there, turn around and make you an attack squad, add another flight squad, and all of a sudden, voila, you have 8 aircraft. So lots of cool mixes that you can make. Yeah, and I like the 1,800, 2,000 point ones better. I just think that it makes for a better game. I mean, it's lighter stuff, and So it's definitely something to try out. Right, and that's, I mean, for better or worse, I think that it's more accurate to the way, you know, a military would be or whatever. You know, the problem I always had with BattleTech is it was all, you were always just trying to fit the points in. So, you know, or however you want to do it, if you're using tonnage or points, but, you know, let's say you were building a Lance, you know, with 4 mechs in it and you had 200 tons. Well, you know, and you go in there and you grab this one, you grab this one, you're like, oh, I got 30 tons left. So I just grab a 30 tonner. Well, and then all 4 of them end up being totally different. They don't support each other. You know, they're just whatever they are. So you can, you know, in CAV, it's really good to run multiples of the same one together, or versions of, you know, you don't, depending on how you want to, you know, there's an argument that you could build a squad that is layered. So you know, you had, you know, one with rockets, you know, if it was a 6 model squad, you had a couple with rockets, a couple with Max, and a couple with PBGs. You know, and so, and they cover each other as they're going into the board. So, you know, the PBG guys are going to have to get up there quick, stay under the guns and the protection of the Max and either the guided missiles or the rockets. So, you know, there's an argument for that style of play. By the same token, you know, you want to build an assault squad, an attack squad that is able to do things together. So if you put 4 in there with Max and 2 with particle bolt guns, you know, depending on how you're playing, how you're going to do it, you may end up losing 2 of your guys just because they sit back and they can't do anything because they're so short ranged comparatively to other Max or whatever, and depending on the setup of the board. So you want to make sure you build those squads so that they're supportive of each other. And I'm not saying you have to go out and put all Max or whatever in a deal. You just need to make sure you think of that as you're putting that squad together. How do you plan on fighting that squad? How do you plan on covering each other so that all 6 of those guys or 4 of those guys or whatever are in the battle right off the bat? Because wargaming is a game of attrition. And it's, you want to load as much damage to the front of the game as you can. And I don't care what game you're playing. This is just the rule of how wargaming works when you're using dice and everything like that. Because you don't have the randomness that you have in real war, where, you know, just something in a that happens, the weird crap, you know, the round just happens to bounce just right and hit, you know, or something or whatever. So, you know, any game that you're playing with rules, it always works like that. And so the trick is to load as much damage to the front in as a shorter period as you can. Because the more damage that you can do in a shorter period is the more kills that you're going to get. If you do a lot of damage but you spread it out, you go along, and as long as you can keep with it, you're okay. And if you do that, and then all of a sudden it hits a point where all that damage finally adds up, and then all of a sudden you can have a force that had 12 or 15 models in it, but they've all been taking damage or whatever, and then in one turn, that damage spike goes down, and 11 of them are dead. I mean, it's crazy. Correct. There is no squad cohesion in the game. That, to me, that seems silly at this scale. That, you know, you can't go further than 5 inches from somebody. The only time some of that works in is the ranges of some of you know, like ECM and APA and EST and stuff like that. There are some ranges that can come into effect depending on how you, it's weighted towards those guys to move into the board. If you just come onto the edge of the board and sit still, you will very quickly outrun those abilities. But because they are they are applied. Well, EST is not necessarily, but especially APA and EST is applied upon the enemy being in that circle. So, you've got to go out there and get that enemy in that circle if you want those things to kick in and help. It was funny because in CAV2, when they put that game together, they did it the opposite way. So if you had a model that added to everybody's attack, they had to be within a certain range of the model that was giving it to them. So you had, and they were pretty short ranges. I think they were like 6 and 12 inches or something like that. So literally you had everybody running in a bubble. So you would have one guy in the center that was giving them ECM or whatever they were called in that one. And everybody else had to stay within like 6 inches of him. So you had this circle, this bubble of guys moving together at all times so that they could keep that. And it was just silly, absolutely silly. And also squad cohesion really, in certain games it makes sense. World War II, Vietnam era, stuff like that. Especially, lower when communications are not, World War I, games like that, Civil War, it makes more sense. And it causes you to tactically think because, okay, if I got to keep all these guys, so, I can't, how am I going to move? But the other side of that, if you're not having to keep track of all that and keep that deal, it just allows some really, really cool and weird things to happen. Like I said, you can have, somebody run down the edge of the board and do a runaround on somebody or whatever. That's right. Now I always tell everybody when you're building a board, always put something on the outside edges of the board. Don't make it just this corridor that somebody can run down because it never fails. If that corridor is there, they are hauling ass and going down there, and they're back there so fast before you even know it. So I always like trying to put some water or something in there that either that they can't go over, something that really twists them out so that they have to go around. So always make sure you do that on a board. I mean, you don't have to if you don't mind it, but like I said, especially if you've got a board with a lot of light guys or a bunch of grav tanks or something like that, you give them that corridor down the left or the right side of the board with nothing between you and them. 2 turns later, you got problems. Exactly, and that was kind of what I hinted towards. Communication-wise, especially 300 years in the future, that's just silly. That it's kind of like how I explained in the article about communications last week. With the battle net and all the different sources of information that are being pumped down to all these guys. They know where everybody is. They know where the bad guys are. They know where their guys are. They can talk to their guys, et cetera, et cetera. And going back to your point about our combined arms. Yes, CAV is a combined arms game. I mean, it's called CAV and everybody likes to do CAVs, but everything, and that's another deal that I never liked about Battletech is, it makes sense for the rules and like that, but they made a different set of construction rules for every different model. So you had this set of rules to build mechs, you had this set of rules to build vehicles, you had this set of rules to build aircraft, then you had this set of rules to do infantry. Well, and the rules were weighted towards the mechs. So the mechs had the best of everything in the way you did it, and everything else kind of fell down from there. And I get it. They wanted that in the game. That's how they wanted it to be. But I just always thought that was silly. So the first thing that we did was we used the same construction system for everything. We put hard limits on certain things to add some variety to what does better at this and what doesn't do better. Like vehicles and aircraft can't do close combat. Infantry are very good at close combat, but they don't have as much movement. Aircraft have a lot of movement, not a lot of armor. They're easy to destroy. tanks is kind of in the middle of the road to the degree. I say that until you've been on the receiving end of a Ford Despot squad. That can be pretty ugly. But everything's from the same. It all comes from the same construction system. So a point of armor on this guy is just as good as a point of armor on that guy. So, like I said, it allows you to not feel like that you can't play other things and be at such a disadvantage that you're like, oh, why would I ever do that? And you can always build a force that is just really, really good at something, and you might get away with it once, depending on your group or whatever. If they don't think about it doing or whatever. I mean, that was when we did our first War Master tournament at CAVCon 3 years ago or whatever. That's how James got everybody. Is nobody thought about bringing all these aircraft. So they really didn't bring anything to counter aircraft. They figured, oh, we'll just see a bunch of CAVs and vehicles out there. Well, lo and behold, he brought all these aircraft, and they weren't set up to shoot them down. I mean, Max, you can't even shoot aircraft with Max. So he stayed at range and just reamed them out, and nobody could do anything about it. Now, anytime you go into a tournament, they always make sure they bring one or two anti-aircraft guys, because they are not going to have that happen again. So you tend to see people build a lot more balanced forces so that they can react to anything. That sometimes is good, sometimes is bad, depending on how you set it up. But in the long run, I think you'll find that you'll do better playing if you think of at least have something to counter anything. I think one of the funniest things I've ever seen in games, and I don't know how many times I've seen it, is these guys they'll bring 2 or 3 fire support squads, and all these guys with rockets, and they're like, oh, we're going to sit back here and rain death on everybody and hide behind the hill and stuff like that. And 2 things is either one, the other side brings aircraft, and the aircraft gets down in there under the minimum range of the rockets. Of course, you can't shoot rockets at them anyway. And they just circle until all the fire support guys are dead. Or they take infantry in carriers down there, either fast vehicle ones or or do jump infantry out of an airplane, come flying by, drop all this infantry down there around the fire support, and all of a sudden you just lost 5,000 points of CAVs to 100 points of infantry. That's a tough one. You're like, oh, oops, I effed that one up. So you always want to make sure you have somebody that can protect your fire support guys. All right, so we're down to the last 10 minutes. What else would you like me to go over tonight? Since you won't get to hear from me again till next Wednesday. Hopefully, with a full 7 days now, I'll have a better run at. I wasn't as prepared tonight as I thought I would be, because this all kind of came about pretty quick on Monday and with everything going on. But I'll have some good stuff next week. Oh. I know, a quiet night for everybody. I'm just waiting for next Wednesday, which is the next game. Well, it's always good if everybody wants to come back and play a second game. So the trick is, and we're trying to add some of that stuff. I've got some scenarios up already, and I'll get links and get that. We're in the process of doing a web page redesign too. We changed servers on Sunday, And we're in the process of putting up some forums and some stuff that'll be on the website. One of the issues that I have right now is with, our forums kind of being still on the Reaper website, and these guys are on this forum, and these guys are over here, and these guys are on Discord, and I don't always get in there and everything like that. I need to get a central location where everybody can come to answer and find out questions, the answers. So, and I know everybody's not on Facebook, and not everybody YouTubes, and not everybody Twitches or whatever. So, we're going to have a centralized forums that we're changing over, so that that'll be where everything is at. It'll be a single place that I can go watch and talk and do all my stuff without trying to surf the web to find where everybody's at. I also intend on putting a blog up that I can put something up daily to keep people in the loop as to what we're working on and where we're at with things. And then overall, the whole page will be, we're cleaning up all the downloads, so there'll be links to all the different scenarios, all the crap that we've listed and done that's out there. But if you don't have the link, you don't know where to find it. So. Part of that too is we are going to we are getting our rewards thing put up. So all those little tabs, if you've been saving your proof of purchases off the back of your miniatures things, pretty soon you'll be able to start turning those in for some unique things. I'm going to put up a lot of new T-shirt designs. I put a couple of new ones up last night that you can go to our let's see if I can put it up here. I think it's TeePublic Stores. So if you're looking for a shirt, we go through TeePublic just because they just have so many more options that we just can't do. So anyway, so there's that should be the link to the TeePublic store, I believe. I will double check it. Yes. So, and the cool thing too is they have a sale starting tomorrow. So I think shirts are like $13, and then, but you can take any of these images and have them put on pillows and cups and notebooks and everything like that. So, but I've got a bunch of more designs that I'll be putting up. So, working on some collar pages with some pictures with some different models and stuff too. So. You'll need a VR helmet so you can blog and answer questions while working. Yeah, well, one of the things I really want to do after we get, we're still trying to organize the shop. We've got so much stuff right now that we're trying to move around. Once we kind of get the shop kind of orientated and stuff like that, I do want to have like a camera out there during the day so you can actually go to our webpage and log in and, or click on the deal and, watch everybody during the day and see what we're up to. It'll keep everybody on their toes so they're not sloughing off because they know somebody will tell me. All right, so if there's anything else that you guys want me to touch on, if not, I'm going to call it a night. Bueller? Nope, go to sleep. Yeah, I wish I could. I got to go home, and like I said, my daughter and grandson came in this evening about 6 o'clock, so they're at home. So I gotta go do that. So, Well, like I said, always thank you for being here. I appreciate you guys' support. Keep the word out. We'll get more people. Keep beating the trees out there. You would be amazed that there's a lot more CAV people out there. They just, I don't know. They're like the Chupacabra or whatever the thing. They're hard to see sometimes. So everybody's just so spread out. So anyway, all right, guys. Well, have a good night. Thanks for being here, and I will talk to you later. Chris will be here Saturday. I'm not sure what he's working on. Probably finishing up the Eagle, and then James will be here Monday night, and I'll see you next Wednesday. So, night, guys.